Okay, so next time I decide to start a project this big and this complex, I need you to pause the video and talk me out of it. Welcome to Cut, Transform Blue. So pretty much everything that could have gone wrong with this piece has. But let's back up a little. The problems with this piece started right in the build process when I had to cut it in half and rebuild the back segment. That was actually pretty quick to solve. Now, some of you guys know that in most of my projects I include some accent colored pieces. I think of them as replacement parts, and I like to think of it as kind of my signature on the models. And the Dragonfly model is no different. It's going to be a pretty bright and neutral colored unit, so I figure why not include some lime yellow parts to really stand out and kind of guide the viewer's eye all around the model. So I did all my regular layering of different types of paints, ending with the lime yellow color, which I began chipping using the cuticle tool, like I always do. I'm right in the middle of a transition of technique, trying new paints and finishes, so mistakes are actually to be expected, but so far things were working out for me. After the chipping, of course, came the oil wash, where I'll make the model dirty, clean it, and repeat the process as many times as needed. And in this part of the process, I'll be working with a super thinned down burnt brown color. After a couple of hours, I had all 4 leg pieces and one of the back thrusters in the accent color, all weathered and just waiting for the final coat of varnish. And that's when disaster struck. Just like in the Dagger project, I finished these pieces with an enamel matte varnish. Thing is, this type of paint can be tricky. Sometimes it causes fogging, which I kinda expected, but this time it was much harsher. I also got some weird white speckles all over the pieces, plus some cracking underneath the varnish. I suspect it's something to do with the acetone thinner I use. It's just too strong, so I'm not testing that again. I'll redo these pieces and stick with water-based varnishes instead. Now, luckily for the joints of the legs, I've got the 3D model, so I can just go ahead and reprint them. And I'm so glad I took that route, because if you look closer at the older pieces, the finish is much worse. My new printer does a way better job with the layer lines, even on the medium quality settings. Now, unfortunately, with the more complex pieces, the middle leg segment and the turbine, there was no easy way around. I just had to carefully remove the paint and start over. Now, I'll be the first to admit that this doesn't look as good as it did the first time, but I'll have to make it work. I also kinda rushed the layer stacking, so the chipping isn't as precise or two-toned as the other pieces, unfortunately. Still, I kept going, doing my best, adding some shallow panel lines with an X-Acto knife and some round marks with my rivet tools. While I'm sure the pieces lost some of its sharpness from all the layers of paint, I'm confident the result will be much better than if I had kept all that fogging and cracking from the enamel wash. From that, of course, the pieces got an oil wash again. And once the oil wash was set, I started applying some decals. That mistake alone set me back at least a couple of days, but I had to make it right. Now the leg and the thruster is looking good, and I can finally move on to the next steps of the painting process. Now this piece right here also has a trouble story. Not only did I already had to paint it twice, cause the first coat completely peeled off, but this week I started doubting its color, and here's why. One of the colors I chose for this project is an orange. Since this is a scientific unit, I figured maybe all of the radars and sensors should be orange, so I had to repaint this piece for the third time. After I painted the piece orange and did the chipping, I decided to add a cool logo. I wanted it to look scientific and kinda alien, and so to make it, I first made some drawings on some sticky notes. And once I felt I found the perfect solution, I went for my 3D printed stencil technique. Now, as you can see, the surface of the piece is not flat at all, and that could be a problem. A solution I've been using lately is to heat up the bed of my printer to a high temperature, wait for the stencil to get kinda soggy, and then mold it against the piece it is going to mask. Then I can just use double-sided tape to keep it secure in place. And airbrush the second color with lots of airflow and as little paint flow as possible. I let that coat dry for a couple of minutes, and then I carefully removed the masking tape and the 3D printed stencil. And a couple of more minutes later, I started doing some light scratches on the logo, so I matched the orange piece. Some of you guys noted in the comment section of the previous video that the wash kind of killed the two-tone effect that I did on the chipping, and you're totally right. So after the oil wash had set, I went back to the chipping to bring back those colors before applying the final coat of matte varnish, and I even did the same thing on the eyepiece. So thanks again for the comments, because I was definitely not paying close attention to detail, as the painting process is so long and painful. As you can see, I'm still far from the finish line on the Dragonfly project, and my goal is to actually finish it by the end of this month, because I need to move on to the next project. If you liked what you saw right here, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please consider supporting me on Patreon or Ko-fi. The links are below, and I could very much use your help, so yeah, check the links below. And as always, thanks for watching.